is to shock. Something really dramatic or something really emotional happens to you. 9/11, when we had 9/11 here, that was a shock to the country. Sometimes young people go through certain type of shock in their young age, and it makes them not want to do certain things. I have my neighbor, he's a senior citizen. He got bit by a dog when he was a little kid. And I have my little York Shih Tzus, and he's afraid, petrified of dogs. Because every time he sees a dog, he remembers that dog that bit him when he was a child. The shock of it. And he said, I know the dog is cute and fluffy and it probably won't hurt me, but every time I look at the dog, I remember that incident. That's what changed the paradigm. I think I told you once when I got married, my wife being a nice wife, she's a housewife, and I'm going to work. She decides to make me breakfast one day, and she said, "Carl, I made some cornmeal porridge for you." And I looked at it with disgust. I said, "I don't eat cornmeal porridge. I eat poor people food." That's exactly what you know where I got that from? I was 5 years old. 5 years old. And there was political war going on in Jamaica between the two parties. And they used to give out cornmeal to the poor people for votes. And I saw that as a child. And that's why I cursed the cornmeal. Cornmeal had nothing to do with it, of course. But I'm just showing you the impact and the paradigm that has shaped the way I view the world. I'm saying that to you because that's the way your world is viewed. And I'm going to show you that there are certain things that you might be dealing with and you haven't broken through that because of certain things that have impacted you.
Amen. Amen.
Senior pastor knows from years I don't like flowers. Same issue. You remember, Pastor, right? So, when I got married also, my wife also complained that I never buy flowers. And I don't like flowers. I didn't like flowers. What you give to? You bring flowers to funerals. I grew up with my grandmother. I was a young boy, 4, 5 years old, and my grandmother was going through that time in her life where all her friends were dying. And every single week, we went to a funeral. In Jamaica, you go to everybody's funeral, everybody nearby, you're always at a funeral. And the first thing you smell when you walk in there is the smell of fresh cut flowers. So whenever I smell fresh cut flowers, it brings me back to my childhood at funerals and looking at the dead. I'm a star child. And I'm using myself as an example to let you know that I myself is a victim. I am no but better than anyone here. But it's important that we understand why we think the way we think and why we do what we do if we are to overcome and move forward. So I said that there's 2 ways to overcome that paradigm, that we build paradigms through shock and awe. So if you think of something dramatic in your life that happened, that's probably one of the reasons why you behave the way you do. The only other way you can change your paradigm is through what they call constant space repetition. That's the only 2 ways. So the constant space repetition is pretty much exactly what it says. Doing the same thing over and over and over in time will make us change our paradigm of the world. When you go to the military, they usually use shock at boot camp to get you in that frame of mind, especially if there's a war and they need to get these little runny-nosed kids to go kill people. We have to beat that into them quick. But other times when we're training through certain practice to develop good habits, we use constant space repetition. Commercial advertisements use constant space repetition to get you to buy what they buy. What you buy. Sometimes you buy stuff and you might look at, I know you've done this. You went to the store, you look at two things, identical things. You look at the ingredients, they're identical ingredients. But one is a store brand or the No Frills brand, and one has a name on it. You know, what it is, Kraft, Swanson, whatever name. I'm promoting the companies here, Lord help me. But you always pick up you trust the commercial brand over the No Frills brand, but you look at the ingredients, it's the same thing. Amen. People do that with aspirin. People said, that the No Frills aspirin and Bebe is the exact same thing, because aspirin is just one thing. You do know that. When people do that all the time, but because of constant space repetition, and we see the commercial, we feel this is better, so we're going to pay that little extra money for that name. So let me try and simplify this. You're trying to do whatever you're trying to do. You're trying to get whatever you're trying to get. But there's certain programmings in your brain that you need to overcome and override in order for you to move to that next level. That's pretty much the nutshell what I'm trying to say here. I'm going to turn, let me read for you. I'm reading Exodus chapter 3, and I'm at verse 13. But I see my son did not fix my tablet. So I like to turn pages anyway. It's not dead. The battery is not dead. Okay. Exodus chapter 3, I'm reading verse 13 and 14. Okay, so let me tell you what's going on here. Moses, in the wilderness, walking by, he sees a bush burning. Strange sight. It's hot out there, but the bush is burning, but it's not consumed. The fire is not consuming the bush. And he said, well, let me turn aside and take a look at this phenomenon, because this bush is burning, but the fire is not consuming. And this is where God calls Moses to go forward and go into Egypt to let his people go. And Moses said unto God, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and they shall say unto and shall say unto them, the God of our fathers hath sent me unto you. And they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? Verse 14. And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, this shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent thee. I heard this message eons ago when I was much younger, no gray hair, on the family name. The family name, we think our family name might be Jones or Scott. Gail or whatever, but the family name is I am. Because you are made in the image and likeness of God, and God said his name is I am. That I am. Your family name is I am, and that's why whenever you personalize things, you say I am. Because that is the family name. Whenever you say, whatever you say after I am will be true to you, and God will be that in your life.
Amen. Amen.
So I want you to think about how you're using the family name. Are you saying over to yourself, I am sick, I am weak, I am poor? Because in the commandments, the third commandment said, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
Amen. Amen.
A superficial person will think that when a person says, oh, God damn, that's taking the name of the Lord. No, no, no. Anytime you say I am in a negative context, you have not realized that you have used the family name to produce, to become something. He said, when you use it in vain, just use it for whatever, I have to become that. And so you now call something that you really don't want in your life upon yourself because you use my name in vain, and I can't hold you guiltless. It's in his word, he has the law. He said, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. So we hold the keys to life and death, blessings and cursing, and in our words and in the way we use the name of God. Same chapter, Exodus chapter 4. In verses 1 through 3, Exodus chapter 4, I'm going to go to verse 1. So, Moses was not a strong man. He was not an eloquent man. He was pretty much a cowardly guy. He came up in the palace, pretty much. And God has to build him up for a big job. He's going up against the government of Egypt. Moses is having this dialogue back and forth with God, and he said, in verse 2, the Lord said to him, what is it that is in your hand? And Moses said, I have a rod in my hand. He had a rod in his hand that he used to walk. And God said, cast it on the ground. And Moses cast it down on the ground, and the rod became a serpent instantly. And Moses fled from in front of it. And God said, get back over here. Take it by the tail. And Moses came by gingerly and grabbed the serpent by the tail, and it became a rod again. And what God says, when he threw that rod on the ground, God said, I am that. That thing you're afraid of, I am that. And he said, take that thing that you're afraid of by the tail. And he came and he snatched it, and it became a rod that he can use again to walk. God said, furthermore, take your hand and put it in your bosom. verse 6. And he took his hand and he put it in his bosom. And he took it out and it was white, and leprosy was all over his hand. And God said, put it in again. And he put his hand in his bosom and he took it out, and his flesh came anew again. God said, I'm that too. God governs the universe by law, and the law is the fundamental of his kingdom. This is why the 10 Commandments are in the foundation of the ark. The whole creation sits on the foundation of that law. So that sickness you have, are you calling that on yourself? I wonder if it's flu season. You know it's flu season. You know, people like to talk about, so you know that H1N1 swine flu is going around, you know? You know how people talk about all kind of calamities. What you're talking about, you are created because God has created whatever it is that comes out of your mouth. Okay. God says in his word, and I wanted, and I loved it because this dialogue with Moses, there was a situation when he put his hand in his bosom and it became leprosy. What happens is we look at things and circumstances that are outside of us like they're permanent. Nothing in this universe is permanent. It can change at any moment. At the twinkling of an eye, the situation can change. Sometimes you see victory right in front of you and defeat just comes right away. And sometimes you see defeat and all of a sudden you snatch victory from it. Everything is in flux and everything is changing at any time. But you choose what you manifest out in the world. Okay. So when you see something that's contrary to what you would like to see in the world, you have to verbalize that I am. With the word I am. And change it. When you say your affirmations in the morning, put yourself in that. I am healthy.
Amen.
I am strong. I am beautiful. Whatever the I am that it is, you have to, because God can only deal with now. God cannot deal with the future. He cannot deal with the past. He can only deal with now. Okay. When that word resonates from your mouth, it is vibrating at a certain frequency. The word has life. So when it vibrates, it is shaking the elements. You with your naked eye cannot see the elements that are changing. But it's shaking the elements. And the elements have to conform to the word. It tells you that God created the whole universe with his word. Just his word. But guess what? You are made in the image and the likeness of God. So what words are coming out of your mouth? Okay. I have to move because I don't want to hold you long. So I was talking, I said I was talking with the coach, and he was saying that, he says, until you question the voice in your head, you will always obey what is in your head. I'm not that brilliant. I'm just borrowing that quote. And He said, you've been hypnotized and conditioned by the world from your youth to think in a certain way. And it's up to you to now that you know, how will you condition yourself and deprogram yourself so that you can move forward to the vision that you have for yourself. One of the things that we spoke about was constant space repetition. And one of the things we do here, we do affirm things each day. And we speak about affirming the word and speaking the word. And I'm always talking to you about visualizing and seeing the good that you desire in spite of present circumstances. Because when you visualize something, the universe vibrates at the frequency of the vision. When you affirm the vision, it increases the vibration of the vision. So the word increases what you see.
Amen. Amen.
Now, when two electrons are next to each other, two valence electrons are vibrating, two atoms are next to each other. We did this once so long ago. If you have a tuning fork next to each other and you strike one, the vibration of the tuning fork will cause the other tuning fork to vibrate at the same frequency. You have seen pictures or videos of great gospel singers that cause glass to crack when they sing, because the frequency of their voice matched the frequency that caused the glass to vibrate at the same frequency. And when they're vibrating together, they're fine. And as soon as the singer stops and breaks that vibration, the black grass breaks. It's the same reason why whenever the military is marching over a bridge, they do not allow them to march in unison. Because the vibration of the feet of the soldiers can cause the bridge to vibrate at the same way, and the foundations will give way. How do you think the Jericho walls came down? Some people say it's a fantasy story, it's a simple science. So, when the electrons, the valence electrons, I'm looking for my electron, I lost it again. I lost it. When that valence electron is vibrating and another one that's close by is vibrating at the same frequency, we say they are in resonance. It's a simple word, resonance. It's resounding. Sometimes, so we're on the same level, we're resounding. We're just on the same vibrational wave right now. We say those two are in resonance. And the thing that you're desiring, the conditions that you're desiring, the good that you're desiring for your life, you must, when you're visualizing it and when you're affirming it, what you're doing is you're bringing yourself in resonance with the vision. I don't know if you got me.
Amen.
As long as you can see it and you can speak it, the universe is going to vibrate. Now, if you study quantum mechanics, I read a lot of boring books, folks. But quantum physics says that if you observe an atom, so let's observe it, it begins to vibrate just by the fact of you observing it.
Amen.
If you turn away, it stops. vibrated. So they did all kind of, I don't know how these people do these tests, but I was reading the book and they were explaining that it was very hard. Quantum mechanics is very hard because you get a certain result when you're observing the atom, but when you turn away from the atom and you're not observing it, it gives you a different thing. So what is happening is that what you're saying is that when God is observing something, whatever God is resonating at, that thing must become it. This is why sometimes when the people come into your presence and they're kind of low, you kind of get low. Or if they're high, they kind of get high. Sometimes somebody might be staring at you, you didn't realize it, but you feel the person staring at you because the atoms in your body have now started to vibrate at their vibratory level. I'm just speaking the gospel today. Amen. Important because I'm just doing basic fundamentals, folks. The reason why I'm going through that because we have to come in resonance. I know we like to be private and we like to mind our own business and things, but in order for you to do great things, everyone has to be in resonance. Amen. Amen. Okay. So daily, we are visualizing what we want. We are speaking what we want. And we are affirming it. And when we affirm it down into our subconscious mind, we bring our thoughts and our will under subjection to the will of God, which resides in us. And when you speak the word, the Lord has said, so shall my word go from my mouth, and it shall not return to me void. So God is saying that when I speak my word, that I want that thing to the atoms, to the universe. The atoms in the universe is going to make that thing. And come back to me, and it better not come to me void. It's going to come back, and what he said, it's going to accomplish the thing what I set it forth to do. Amen. This is why I stress the third commandment so much. This is why I stress this so much, because the word that comes from your mouth, it cannot return void. So you're going up and down in your life. My family will tell you, if you want to get me really angry, and it's hard to get me angry, complain about lack. But my family, I will just lose my mind. Because they know me, I don't like budgets. I am a reckless guy. Nobody don't ever want to marry a guy like me. Because I will make it rain and know that more money is coming. And if they start to complain about lack, I lose my mind. What are you doing? I lose my mind because I know exactly what's coming. Amen. Let me wrap up. These basic fundamentals that God has given us is in His Word. And we need to be right now the good we desire for ourselves. We need to read every day and affirm, visualize each day what it is we want for our life. And the scripture said that the whole creation is waiting for you. Amen. Amen. What is it waiting for you to realize that you are the sons of God and daughters of God. It's not my word, it's the scripture. It said the whole creation is groaning and waiting for you.
Amen. Amen.
God, they're waiting for the adoption, because as soon as you realize who you are, that's when God's going to take you up. If you look at the prophets that God has taken up, when they realized who they were, God took them up.
That's right. That's right. Amen.
The whole creation is waiting for you, and is waiting for the manifestation of the sons and daughters of God. For you.
Amen.
In our scripture today, that was read today by our senior pastor, Naaman went to Elisha home, and Naaman was a captain, a general of the army, and he was a leper. But the thing is that he lived a high life. He was in a very prestigious position. And Elisha didn't even come out to greet him. And his pride and his arrogance got in the way when Elisha said to him, just go over to the Jordan and dip 7 times.
Amen.
And you'll be fine.
Amen.
So I rode all the way here. He rode far. And he brought a whole bunch of stuff with him, too.
Amen.
And he said, this guy didn't come to the door to greet me, to salute me. Do you know who I am? And wait a minute. That dirty water over there in the Jordan, you want me to dip in? Me, the captain of the host of the Syrians. You want me, the general, to dip in that dirty water, and there's better water over here and over there? This guy was bourgeois. He was bourgeois.
Amen. Amen.
Why am I putting that to you? Sometimes our egos is what's holding us.
Amen.
Is what's holding us from moving forward. I'm too proud to do that. Oh, I ain't touching that. You want me to do what? I always tell the engineers and the mechanics that work around me, whenever we come to a problem, I said, with these machines, most of the repair problems are simple. Most problems are very simple. These guys, sometimes they'll beat their head against the wall and they're scratching their head. They can't figure out why this grandiose machine is not working. And a lot of times it's just something very, very small and simple. And the prophet said, just go in the water in the Jordan, just dip 7 times and be clean. And that's what his servants were wise. And he said, my father, if the prophet had said for you to do some great thing, wouldn't you have done it? But if the prophet said, sacrifice 100 bullocks, he would have sacrificed them. He said, just go in the water and dip. The instructions I'm giving you here are simple, because I want us to be in oneness. It's a simple thing. It's a little less time on Candy Crush. You sit, you visualize, you meditate, you affirm.
Amen. Amen.
If you think about the amount of time you spend in front of media, and you didn't take that time to, oh, I need to work out. I do 30 minutes. I used to love that Jack LaLanne commercial. It said 30 minutes a day. And I thought about it, wow, that's not bad. And my wife would tell you, I used to do that 30 minutes was my minimum time in the gym. And I used to always, most of the time I would stay longer. But just get to it. This is something simple. You're struggling in a world system, and God has given you a blueprint. He's given you the basic fundamentals to get what you want. If you are in the kingdom and you belong to him, you're going to follow his voice. And the great thing about what happened with Naaman was this, that he came back to the prophet and he wanted to give him land, and he wanted to give him cattle, he wanted to give him anything, silver and gold. He said, no, I don't want any of that. The one thing the prophet wanted, it was that you serve no other God. And that's what God is asking of you.
Amen. Amen.
Serve no other God.
Amen.
But me. We are between two opinions. A lot of times we're listening to the world system, and we're listening to God's system, and we're listening to the world system, and we're listening to God, and we're serving God here, and we're trying to serve man, and we're going back and forth. And that's not the fundamentals that have been given to us. That's not the blueprint that's been given to us. And that was the main thing. God said, I don't need your sacrifice. I don't need your money. I don't need anything else. I want you to serve and worship me. Much more I can say, but I'm going to just say this. I remember I believe it was 2010, could be 2009, but time flies. I sat with a personal trainer, and I used to work out with the trainer. The trainer looked at me, and she was very fit. She was a professional boxer, British woman. She was tough. And I was spending a lot of money for this trainer. And she said to me, Carl, if you're not going to do the instructions that I've given you, I don't want your money. She said, I'm here about results.
Amen.
And she showed me the wall of all the people that said, she said, if you do this much repetitions, you come to the gym this much times a week, this is what's going to happen, this, and this. And I followed her blueprint exactly. And sometime in the summer there, I felt like I was in marathon shape. I had so much energy. I had lost